This is the Herd Line News.
Well, sticking with those Cowboys, they were without two of their stars on Saturday with Zeke and Amari out, but that didn't slow their offense down. They marched down 97 yards on the field for a touchdown, and 82 of them came as courtesy of two players, Tony Pollard and Michael Gallup. And after the game, Jerry Jones was in very high spirits.
Is Pollard your best negotiator with Zeke?
Who?
Pollard. No, listen. He's got you on camera.
You gotta love Jerry.
He likes poking Zeke.
He does. But I mean, I'm not gonna exaggerate the situation. He's a fourth-round rookie running back. He averaged 8.4 yards per carry, scored a 14-yard touchdown. Yeah, and through two preseason games, he's averaged 6.7 yards per touch.
He's a nice player.
A nice player, and good to have in this particular moment while this is going on. Adds a little pressure to the situation.
Yeah, Cowboys have shown an ability in these later rounds to get good players. The Cowboys are a lot more functional on draft day than people give them credit for.
And Dak is a fourth-round pick.
Yeah.
I do think they're exaggerating the situation with Zeke, though. I think it's funny in the moment, and Jerry's a character, and we love that. But let's be serious right now. Zeke is top three, depending on what style of running you like. Probably the best running back in the league. I just feel like the Cowboys just have to do it. Like they don't really have a choice here. I believe they have a very small window, as most teams do, to win a championship, and they know they have to pay Dak, as we just discussed. It's going to happen. I know everyone is getting tied up in the money, but eventually someone will get paid more than Dak, and so on and so forth. And then his contract won't be as daunting as it will be when they first sign him. And they could have done it months ago. You knew you were going to have to pay Dak. Right. What other choice did you have? And that's why they're in the situation they're in now. But it's not going to be Zeke once the season starts. So, John Mara made it clear last week that he wants Eli Manning to start all 16 games this season. He said, "I hope Eli has a great year and Daniel never sees the field." This, of course, sparked a few rumors that ownership is pushing Pat Shurmur to start Eli no matter how well Daniel Jones plays. And he also said to the media recently, "Eli is our starting quarterback and will start the season." And here is what Shurmur had to say about it.
John owns the team, right? And we're on the same page. There's really not much more to say. And I think I've been saying that all along. I just get a sense once in a while that when I answer those questions, nobody believes me. Well, you heard it from the owner.
We did hear it from the owner, so I think we have our answer for who the starting quarterback is going to be. Yes, and that is why he's going to continue to be asked these questions, is because he has looked solid. And, he was a 6th overall pick in the first round of the draft. Of course you're going to be asked these questions. It's the same thing that happened with Baker Mayfield last year, and it's a fair question to ask, and people are going to continue to ask him. Here's the problem. Obviously, we never like when owners get involved in personnel decisions to that level. We were just talking about Jerry. He's talking about a player of a completely different caliber and situation. Like, it's not a decision about whether you're going to start Ezekiel Elliott once you sign him. That's not the same situation. And Jerry, for that matter, I don't think is making personnel decisions on that level. Who's going to start and who's not going to start. It's not that they're forcing the situation. I think we all kind of believe that Eli Manning is going to start the season. But the conversation isn't, is Eli Manning going to start the season? It's, what is your plan with Daniel Jones? Is he really going to sit behind Eli Manning, playing the way that he's playing?
Yeah.
And if Eli Manning walks off a cliff this year, this drumbeat is going to get to the point where they're not going to have a choice.
They could have had Sam Darnold. Then it'd really be heat, by the way, because Sam behind Eli. Maybe there's always this is my conspiracy theory tinfoil hat. They didn't draft Sam Darnold because they knew they couldn't sit him for 2 years. They just knew there's no way at practice you could watch Sam and Eli and go, Daniel, you can watch and go, because he looks like Eli. He's not a world-class athlete. He doesn't have a big arm. Daniel Jones at practice is not an ooh like Patrick Mahomes would be, or Darnold's athletic ability. You could make the argument Daniel Jones was the kind of that they could bring in, and it wouldn't blow people away for a year, and Daniel may be just better than they thought.
Well, yeah, that's what's working in their benefit, is that people felt like everyone was shocked by this pick. They felt like it was a reach. He wasn't in this conversation to go in the top 10. It was just like, oh, I guess the Giants are making a move. So we don't really know what to expect from him. We've been pleasantly surprised. But this is going to be a conversation all year long, no matter what. Yeah. Finally, with DeMarcus Cousins likely to miss the entire season with a torn ACL, the Lakers have just JaVale McGee at center. And now reports say that the Lakers might have interest in Dwight Howard. According to Ramona Shelburne, regarding the Lakers and Dwight Howard, team source says their interest is more due diligence after the Boogie injury. Memphis has granted permission for Dwight and his camp to speak to teams, one of which is the Lakers. And according to Shams, the Lakers have been patient in approach since Cousins' injury, and another accomplished veteran center on the market is Joakim Noah. Howard is expected to eventually be released by Memphis. He played in 9 games for the Wizards last season. Howard did before having surgery to repair a gluteal injury.
I can't believe Joakim Noah is still in the league. He's been around forever.
Yeah, this is
the Lakers.
This is the Lakers, right? And it feels a lot like last year, doesn't it? Where you're watching the moves that they're making and the pieces they're putting together, and it's like, yeah, that would make sense. That would be a great lineup 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I mean,
and for that matter, like to me, I would take Carmelo Anthony. I think he spaces the floor better, and that's still a conversation about how many years ago would this lineup have worked. At least with Melo, you're getting scoring. And they're likely not going to play Anthony Davis at the center.
Yeah, like it's funny about the Lakers. I could be wrong on this. JaVale McGee's enough. I mean, Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, and LeBron. I've got my size. I don't need a ton more size, do I?
It feels like they're going for size. Like all of these names that are being put out there are big guys, and that's.
I mean, JaVale McGee. If I have Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee in 2020 on my roster, that's enough.
Anthony doesn't want to play the 5.
Well, he didn't have to play the 5. By the way, we've got to.
But not that you necessarily need that anymore.
We got a revolution going on where a lot of teams don't. Who are the bigs all lined up playing for Golden State?
That's what I'm saying. 5 years ago, this would have been a great, very interesting lineup. So, again, we're just left with a little confusion as the direction the Lakers are going in with that.
Yeah. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
30 minutes from now, Colin right, Colin wrong. My buddy, who, by the way, is in the booth so far for the preseason games for the Jets, Peter Schrager, has been in the booth. I like what the NFL does. They take reporters and they bring them on the broadcast team for the preseason. It's actually great. And via the Coward Global Satellite Network, Schrags is joining us. Peter Schrager, Fox NFL reporter. All right, let's go. So AB showed up to practice today. Let's say it goes sideways again in the next week. Schrags, what would be the options for the Raiders? What would you do if you got a guy and it was like a mutiny without him playing?
All right, Colin, I got to do the yeah, but thing. So he showed up at the facility, but all the tweets from all the insiders said that he was at practice. The Raiders didn't really have a practice today, so he didn't play in a helmet. He was there in the building, but he still hasn't practiced, so he still hasn't worn the helmet. So I just want to clarify that. Yes, he's in the building, but this is still going to be an ongoing saga, and I know you've got Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, coming on later in the show, but I just want to clarify. There was no contact today with Antonio Brown. He didn't put a helmet on. He's still fighting this fight from what we gather, and to that point, they do have some options. I mean, if this really goes haywire, and at this point, Gruden's been in Antonio Brown's corner. He's been the good cop. This is a fight for Antonio, and we got his back. Well, Mayock came out Sunday night and played bad cop and was like, either all in or you're all out. And what does all out even mean? Well, you could cut Antonio Brown, which would mean, 2 years of $30 million, which they're not looking to do. You could trade him, which they got him on 80 cents on the dollar. Do you really want to trade him for 60 cents on the dollar? You also have to find a trade partner. The third is this nuclear option, as if he hadn't been in the facility today and if he goes AWOL again, called something that they refer to as the 5-day letter. And I say it's nuclear option because it's never been used before since the new CBA came out in 2011. It's a letter that goes out to the player, and if he doesn't show up, it means he doesn't get paid, he cannot play for the rest of the season, and it completely severs all ties with the player in the NFL. No one's ever done it. It is the most drastic of measures. There was whispers that might have been used if Antonio Brown didn't show up, but he did show up in the facility today. But this is not obviously what any side wants, Brown's side or the Raiders side. And here we are, mid-August, and that's where we're at.
Oh, Lord. All right, let's go. You've been in the booth for the Jets. Now, Le'Veon Bell, not that he is AB, but they're both former Steelers, and Le'Veon Bell decided, I'm not going to play, gave up $14 million.